The 90-90 hip mobility represents 90-degree bends in each knee. So your feet will be forward like this. If you flip to one side and the other, it'll always be 90 degrees on one, 90 in the other. So what you need to do first to start is stretch out your lower back. So rotating the direction that the knees are flipped over, reach that side, and I'm trying to reach around. You'll feel this stretch in your lower back. You might even feel it in your hips. So just keep reaching up and over. One arm supports you, and the other arm is reaching behind, trying to rotate. So doing this a couple times each will get really, really, really good stretches in your back, in your hips. I feel it in the side of my hip. I feel it in my lower back. This is just getting our hips going. Last time on this side. Next, what we want to do is keep the same position with our lower body, and I'm going to rotate the opposite direction with the hips that the knees are pointing. So instead of reaching around the direction that the knees are pointing, I'm going to reach back and try and touch, like I'm trying to rotate towards this back foot. And I can use the ground, I can use my body a little bit to rotate. So keeping this knee down, you'll feel a good stretch on the inside of the thigh. Next up, we're going to do it the other way. To do that, flip the knees the other way and rotate the body back. You'll feel the stretch on the inner thigh on the other side now. Keeping your knees at about 90 degrees. If you need to adjust your feet, you can do that. I'm trying to rotate back towards that foot. In fact, I want to rotate a little bit further. You'll feel the more often you do this, you'll be able to rotate a little bit further. Flip them again, rotate back towards that back foot. You should get a pretty good stretch in the inner thigh. We'll make that a little bit quick. Rotate this way. We'll speed up these last couple stretches. Now in the next step, we're going to take it a little bit further. What we want to do is point forward and now pick up that back knee, and you could even push it going a little bit further. So you can see how I'm pointing my body towards this front foot, but I'm lifting up my back knee and getting a really good stretch in the adductors, the inside groin. So if you're doing this in the gym, you might want to watch out with what kind of shorts and underwear you're wearing. You might be pointing towards the wrong people. What you can do is open up the hip and knee back down, open up the hip, knee back down. Try and keep your body upright instead of folding over. Keep your body upright, and the more upright you keep it, the better the stretch in your hips. So we'll switch over to the other side. Open up the hip a little bit more. If you need to, you can grab your ankle and drive your elbow to push your knee out a little bit further. You don't need to get a huge stretch, just push it a little bit further each time. And going back and forth is just working your hip capsule, getting some good fluid in the hips, probably getting it to move in a way that you haven't in a long time or never have. Remember, keep the body pointed towards the front foot and don't lean over too much. Keep your upper body upright somewhat. Next up, what we want to do is get a little bit of activation in the hip capsule. So we did a little bit of stretching to get the knee outwards. You're feeling the inside, getting a good stretch. Now we want to get the outside working. So what you'll do here, try and keep your body upright. And next up from here, bringing your heel up, not your toe, but think about bringing your heel up. Knee touching the ground. Try not to lean too much on this foot or this leg. If you need to, you can use your hand just to raise up your heel a little bit more, just to give it a little bit of assistance. If not, this is what we want here. Heel pointing up, keeping the knee at 90 degrees on both knees. And this, again, you should feel it here. So this is helping you get internal rotation, but also working the muscle on the outside. So not just stretching out the muscles to get our hips to work both ways, but we want to activate some muscles so that you actually have muscles supporting that movement as well. Instead of just stretching something out, we want to offer stability, and that's what this muscle in here is doing. It might be hard to get your foot up. In that case, no big deal. Do what you can. If you can get the heel up, perfect. You're going to feel a nice contraction in the side of your butt. I guarantee you that. Think about your heel pointing up. That's exactly what you want. So this, again, is activating the muscle. It's getting some stabilizer muscles in the hips working. Keep doing that. If you need to keep going, I recommend just doing what we did. Remember, reaching around, holding that a couple times. Also, opening up the hips. If you have one side tighter than the other, I recommend putting more time into that tighter side. And also activating the muscle. To finish it off, you can get a little bit more control in your hips. So what we'll do is heel up and then rotate. So this is external rotation in the hip. This is internal. So now I have my knee off the ground. I'm trying not to lean on this side too much. And if you don't lean, you can imagine how hard it starts to get. But bring the heel up and then rotate. So this one, you can get a lot more work done by doing very slow movements. So we want to make sure the hip is very stable. There's small muscles that are going to be doing that, stabilizing your hip and working your hip internal rotation and external rotation very slowly is going to get those little muscles to work a little bit more. Do this on your squat days or really any kind of lower body days, and you'll be amazed how much better movement your hips will have.